Morning, good morning, good morning. Meredith, thank you so much for such an amazing introduction. Wow, great turnout. This is epic. I was just telling Lauren and everybody, I remember the first Creative Mornings that they did, and we were all crammed in the small space, and it's incredible to see them continue to grow a little bit more and a little bit more, and now they have just this gorgeous space at the Entrepreneur's Sandbox as well. So it's good to see Creative Mornings really doing good things for the creative community here. I am Ben Flores. I do run the Highbrow Room, which is a small cocktail parlor above Aloha Beer Company. I put stuff in drinks and glasses, and people drink them, and they enjoy them. But something that Meredith said, a lot of times art is visual, art is written in word, but sometimes it gets put in a glass, and sometimes it's pretty tasty. Sometimes it's pretty appealing. I think if anybody who's been a serious drinker in the past 5-7 years has noticed that bartending is taken off onto another level. The consumer is more educated. The consumer wants to see art. They want to see beauty in their glass before they even begin to taste it, before they begin to smell it. They want to see the process that person goes through behind the bar. One thing that I preach to my employees is that, look, we're on stage 3 nights a week. We put in the homework, we put in the dress rehearsals leading up to that, but essentially, we have 8 hours of performance, and so we have to be on our game, not just for us, but for the consumer as well. So today, we are going to talk a little bit about wonder. This is an intimidating board. We're going to talk about wonder and its place in the creative community. Usually wonder is kind of synonymous with the cosmos, with a divine creation, and acts of science that have made a universe and whatnot. And it's very awe-inspiring and often philosophically driven. We're not going to do that today. We're going to take a little bit more of a practical approach. And we are going to use grammar. Yeah, everybody's stoked for that, aren't they? Coffee line just got 10 times longer. Like, this guy's going to talk about grammar and creativity? We are. So, to get things started, we're gonna break wonder down into 3 categories. The first one being a noun. We're going to talk about what that becomes as a creative for you. We'll move into wonder as a verb, the actions that we take that wonder drives. And then finally, we'll move into wonder as an adjective, that reward that we're all seeking. Wonder as a noun. We all know nouns, person, place, or thing. By treating wonder as a noun, we're giving it identity. We're giving it purpose. Wonder is essentially a cause of astonishment, admiration, the quality of exciting, amazing admiration. What wonder becomes as a noun, as a thing, as an identity, is essentially the seed which starts everything for a creative. Any project that you've ever had has began with a question. I wonder what would happen if this. This thing is broke, I wonder how to fix it. This beverage is terrible, I wonder how I can make it better. I'll constantly go back to the bar side because that's what I know and what I do. But by planting that seed, that then becomes the overall driving factor for what our end product, for what our creative process will end up being. It'll also help us to kind of understand where we are in that process, from the beginning to the middle to the end point. Everything's going to be based on treating wonder as a noun, giving wonder that identity. So then you move into wonder as a verb. This is where we get our legwork in. This is where you have a giant block, a giant space with so much potential, but you really don't know what to do with it quite yet. So you make a couple mistakes, you learn a couple things, but you're constantly in the act of wondering. You're wondering, how can this be a little better now? Wondering what happens if I substitute this ingredient for another ingredient, or if I completely, totally change the way that I'm building this beverage. For those of you that are in visual media, I wonder about a color scheme. I wonder if these warm colors match what my client is looking for. But again, it has to go back to when we planted that seed as wonder, being something brand new, something that nobody has seen before. So as we're in wonder as a verb, we're constantly making mistakes. We're constantly polishing and reinventing whatever that initial question was. Asking, how can I be better? Which will then bring us into wonder as an adjective. And that's our final end all. That's when someone else says, wow, this is wonderful. And so now we've taken the identity of wonder as a thought, as something that hasn't been come up with or conceptualized before for every creative that's in here. You can apply this to every one of your industries. Then you've worked on it, you put in your legwork, you've not slept for a little bit, you are drinking entirely too much, you're coping with failure, but you're still trying to make a better product that for some is often never finished. You're always working on it. Until you hear that one person is, wow, this is wonderful. This is terrific. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this conceptualization of creativity in whatever industry you're in, architecture, painting, creative writing. All of it began with wonder. And because you had to ask yourself a question, how can I be better? How can I make this better? So for me, that's something that I go through every day. Every day, be it with classic cocktails and paying homage to modern classics. Also seeing other people in the beverage industry and the new things that they come up with. How can I somewhat mimic that, but make it my own and make it a little better? And then again, the legwork and the sleepless nights and the too much heavy drinking. But then to catch that reward, that's everything. That's everything that we should all be striving for as a creative community. Because when we begin to press those boundaries and we begin to push each other, not in a way of, how do I want to put this? Not in a way of competition, but we begin to push each other to make each other better. And that's the way that the creative industry is going to continue to move forward. We're going to continue to make ourselves better, but we're not going to be able to do it until we finally ask that question of ourselves. I wonder how I can make this project better. That's my little spiel on wonder. I think I'm pretty far under time, but unfortunately, the bar and beverage industry is not very kind to those of us who wake up at 7 a.m. Yeah. So about 6 coffees later, and I think I just raced through this in about 10 minutes. Question and answer. Anything from you guys? How did I get started in the beverage industry? It was a long time coming. I think I was a freshman in high school, and I learned how to make a Manhattan before I knew how to drive a car. There was always something really fascinating about beverage, about the way that flavor profiles play with each other, about our ability as humans to taste and to manipulate flavors at a different time in a beverage. I always thought that was just incredibly compelling. And then as I got older, as I witnessed bartenders, just to see their ability to continually multitask, and at any given time, a bartender's brain is going, until finally they get home, they get to rest a little bit, but then they wake up all stressed out again, and then we're back at it. That was always super fascinating to me. Yeah. So that's how I got into it. I had some amazing mentors, a whole lot of overdue library books, because back then we went to the library. So overdue library books, slight cirrhosis of the liver, but here we are. I don't have cirrhosis. I'm good. All of them, just in larger quantities. Yeah. I don't think there is a one overall cocktail that really will help bring us back together. Shots of tequila are always good in my book. How do you go about your inspiration in creating a cocktail, that new and amazing cocktail? It's everywhere. It's constant. I was very fortunate to have an amazing mother growing up, and she taught me. We would be in the grocery store, and she'd be like, smell that. Smell that. I was like, why, Ma? I don't want to know what outside of a watermelon smells like. It doesn't smell like anything. She's like, remember that note. Remember the good things that you smell, the good things that you see, the bad things that you smell. What gross feet smell like. Because that'll later play in when you start dealing with fun cheeses, you know? But yeah, the inspiration is all around you. Be it visual, be it witnessing what other people in the industry are doing, what parameters that they're pushing. You just are, like I was saying, your brain is constantly going. Even though I'm not behind my bar, you know, I'm still everywhere. You know, you're constantly in your state where you're at and always soaking up knowledge. I think there's a reason why things are called trends and things are called classics. Trends will come and go. Classics never fade. Take a look at a pair of shoes, Chuck Taylors. Everybody's had them. Everybody notices them. Adidas shell toes. Everybody knows them. Everybody's seen them. But my shoes with the rhinestones, not so much. But they were cute then. Will it come to Hawaii? Absolutely. Any great beverage director, bartender, bar manager is going to cater to every one of their guests. And not every one of your guests is going to drink alcohol. There's nothing wrong with that. I go to bars and sometimes I really don't feel like a beverage. You know, just please make me something with some flavor profile, no alcohol. Could it come here? Yeah. Is it here already? It is. It's just not on as many menus. Yeah. That's a good one. I think before the whole smoke boom, it was smoke. That was great. I think before the whole elderflower, that was great. But I really geek out when people start using botany and start using vegetality. I studied ethnobotany for a time there, and so when I can see people using stuff like sandalwood, various oils, that really gets me going. Yeah, because those things are, one, you have to know how to manipulate them, and two, like any other ingredient, if there's too little, it falls on a deaf palate. If there's too much, it overpowers. The greatest tool that any bartender, any chef can ever have in their repertoire is a solid straight line. That's it. A ruler, a piece of paper, and a Sharpie marker. And your dish, your beverage, at any time you start here, and if something just shoots out, you stop right there. And you start over, and you manipulate that so it moves absolutely flawless and clean. That's a real long process. It's achieving that goal of a straight line. It's achieving that goal of wonder as an adjective. I think the most flattering thing you can get is a guest saying, man, that's incredible. That's terrific. I've never seen anybody do that. And here, try that. Did you try this? That's how you know you're going on the right path and you're doing something right. But it is a process. Like all things creative, everything that each of you do in your creative industry, it's a process. Everyone wants to be able to sit down and write a song in one shot. Everybody wants to be able to write an amazing poem in one shot. But that's not how it works. We naturally screw up as humans, and we got to go back and we got to fix our mistakes, fix our problems, and swallow our pride and say, okay, you're right. That is garbage. I'll try better. So you're never satisfied. You're never satisfied because you're always thinking, this can be better. And you're always planting that seed within yourself, within your creative mind, that this is phenomenal, but I can do better. And I think that pushes, I can only speak for myself, but that pushes me to continue to want to be anew, to keep that creative aspect of my mentality going a little bit farther. When you find yourself in a rut, and in my industry, it's using flavor profiles to mask other things, or it's using the same technique or the same flavor profile over and over, but you're just substituting one ingredient. That's when you know, okay, I've lost it. take a step back, find yourself anew. Go get in the water, go spend a little bit of time in the woods or something, but just step back for a little bit. The Highbrow Rooms celebrated its 2-year anniversary in April. We don't know. We don't do a ton of marketing at all. It is a very small space. It's not your typical bar where you can stand, hang out, whatnot. We have no standing policy, but it really controls the ambiance of the room. It keeps the integrity of the room, and it keeps the guests' experience to, well, this is something totally different and special, especially if you see our location. On Queen Street, it gets a little rough and gnarly after 10 p.m. Well, shoot, it gets gnarly at 10 a.m. Some guy stole our plants yesterday. Broad daylight. Broad daylight. This guy comes up to our planter boxes, steals 3 of our plants. We're just like, what is this? Queen Street, you did it again. All right. Nice work. But you'll see that it's a little kind of a rougher neighborhood. You walk up this dusty gray staircase, open a door, and all of a sudden there's just beautiful, plush, purple room. And you know that you walked into something special. And I think by the product that we've created, that's what continues to drive people coming back to us. A bit. We've gotten a lot better at social media. But there's also everybody says this is a small island. Everybody knows each other. It's true. It's even a smaller food and beverage community. So we all know each other. And we're always constantly, oh, I knew this. You're going to be a good fit for this bar. Go check this person out. Go check this person out at their place. So we get a lot of references coming into us, too. They say, yeah, I was at so-and-so. They said, you should come, to the Highbrow Room. You're only on island for a couple days. Check it out. Or you live here and you haven't been there. What are you thinking? Go check it out. Yeah. I would say 80-20. 80% residents, 20% tourists. And the reason for that, I believe, is because, again, of our location. When people think Kaka'ako, they're instantly drawn to the salt complex, to everything going on there. We're a bit more off the beaten path. And they'll walk from the salt complex. They get up to where we're at, and they see Club Sundance across the street just bumping. And they're like, all right, we're doing this? So about 80-20. My favorite cocktail is a gin martini stirred with a twist, always. But I feel compelled to mention Negroni Week. Yeah.